Hey guys.
Hey,
friend.
Hey, Bethany family.
Hey.
How's everyone doing today?
Good. Glad to see
Doing
you
good.
guys.
Yes, it's so
very
good
much.
to see you guys. And Sister Maya, we're on the Bethany's page today, right?
Yes, we are all over on social media.
Oh, we are
Here we
all
go.
over social
All
media.
over.
We're big time now, folks.
Lord have mercy.
Pressure.
We done made it to the big time, guys. But no, if you guys do not know, we are the Recap family. Every Monday at 5:30, we recap Sunday service, Sunday encounter, as well as the drive-in service, because, you know, we get a double dose and, you know, we just need that time to fellowship and talk about it. That's what we're missing right now, not being in the sanctuary and in the building where you can talk in the hallway. Yeah, hang out and talk and, you know, eat some food in the Harvest Hall and stuff like that and talk about the service. This is what the recap is. And we want you guys to also share this with your family, with your friends, because it is Transforming Lives Month.
Yeah.
Each one share one.
Each one share one. So even though we are not meeting in person, the way that you can do that is by inviting people to join us online, to share our content, start a conversation about it, and also ask us questions as we go along in the recap, right?
Right.
So
be part of the conversation.
We want you to be a part of the conversation, especially if you guys watch us. You know they don't like answer my questions, so I definitely need you guys in the comments to answer my questions.
Yes, hard questions, y'all.
Because he has open-ended questions all the time.
Questions. Like I gotta be like, wait, did I listen to that part?
It's like you got to go back, right? But no, as you guys can see, we have the Recap family here. I have I've always tried to get on this side.
I never get it.
Right, I always try to get it right. Sister LaBoo, Sister
Hey guys.
Maya, our social media director. Under me, we have Sister Des.
Hi guys, how are you?
And then next to Sister Des, we have Deacon McGee.
Ooh.
I feel like you should just let your name just run off like that. Deacon
I like that.
McGee.
Deacon McGee.
And as you guys see, we have a special guest.
Who that?
Who that?
Special?
Oh Lord!
Oh, boy.
Oh man!
We're for him already.
We're in trouble.
Please don't get him started, please. It is Monday. It's not Fresh Friday. But no, we do have our amazing Pastor Nick, joining us today.
Hi, Pastor Nick.
We love it when you come on for the recap, sir.
I know, it's pretty cool.
It is cool. You know, it's always good having your opinion on things. You can't leave us millennials alone too long now.
Yeah, y'all start acting up. And, you know.
You know, he is a millennial, right? So
I was gonna say he's right there in the pocket.
I keep forgetting that.
I am a tweener.
It's not even a real thing.
Making up
yes,
stuff
I am.
now.
They've made this group of the Gen X millennial group where they're like a mix between, because most of us are raised by Gen X boomers, so we have a different way of doing things than.
I would love to read this article.
Right, exactly.
I would love.
It's like extroverts. You're a mix in between. You're not fully an introvert. You're not truly an extrovert. You're a mixture.
Okay.
I'll send it to you.
Sure, if that's what you want to go with, we'll let it happen.
That's Nick like, oh, I'm gonna get you.
I know.
I'm gonna
Gearing up. I know. I see it.
I could right now, as I got thoughts racing through my mind, but
Kevin, we're talking about the word of God. How about that?
I'm already sleepy already. I am sleepy already.
We gonna get into that word, right?
I'm not going to do it.
Choices, right? So Bishop, he, you know, like I say, every week he gives us another layer of this cake, right? And this cake that we're basically doing is this Redefined series. So this week we talked about making difficult choices. Now that right there, when he said the title, I was just like, listen, Bishop, you don't need to be in my business. You don't need to be in my backyard. You don't need to do none of that, right? But he talked about how difficult it is making these choices, especially as we continue to grow in the kingdom, right? So he came out of the book of Isaiah, chapter 43, and, you know, he started this discussion. But like I like to ask you guys each week before we start, what was your opinion about this additional layer of Bishop's Redefined series, especially making difficult choices?
Yeah. I say the same thing every single week. It's like, so good. And I think it's just perfect for the time that we're in, even now, because there are a lot of choices that we have to make, and how we, manage our days. Because I know for me, it's easy to let the day get ahead of me now that we're all kind of stuck at home. So just being mindful of my choices and making sure that I'm making ones that are going to lead me down the right path.
Right. Okay. Go ahead, Minister LaBoo.
Hey, Kevin, you are right. She's different on this. Her whole attitude is different. Her presentation is different. You are right. She seems more open and loose.
Pastor Nick, I don't steer you wrong, good sir.
And you don't. You are so right. She ain't that boisterous when we do maximizing on Mondays.
I don't have anything else to say.
That is not true. You have some good stuff to say, and people want you to say something. Oh, but
right, I did tune in. I did tune in today, and you said some good stuff there. I did see today. Now I saw.
Now watch this. Now after I said this, watch her go into her shell.
You're gonna be asking her questions next week. She can be like,
That's why she feels comfortable.
Yeah, you're in a safe place.
Right. We bounce off each other. That's why.
Right.
Good.
But who wants to take that next? What was your opinion of this additional layer to this redefined series?
If I agree with you, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, it was very much like in my business, very much, and so learning how to make and not overthinking the choices you make, making the choice and rolling with it. So again, I tell you guys all the time, discernment is one thing I'm constantly a prayer for. So it's help me, what path, which one, because I'm literally standing in the middle, should I go left, should I go right, should I go left? So
right.
I definitely needed this.
Whew. Deacon McGee.
Nah, I was gonna piggyback on everybody else. It was right on time. It was pretty much, helping me in the middle of making some very difficult decisions. So it's okay, this is what you need to do. I always say, he always gives you a buffer every week. Okay, are you making the right decision or are you making the wrong decision? So it was right on time for me.
All right. I like that. And Pastor Nick, would you like to share your good wisdom to start us off with this conversation?
Sure. I think the older I get, the more I realize how important choices are, and how long, watch this, they affect you. And all of us on this panel right here and everybody watching now can honestly admit that some of the emotional, mental, physical struggles we have did not start yesterday.
Yeah.
They're a byproduct of choices we made years ago. Some of us in our teenage years, we all closer than I am, but in your teenage years, still affect you to this day. So what gets me about this Redefined series is two things. First, it's learning to identify why you make the choices that you make, that we make. And then number two, learning that those choices usually come from our self-perception, which is something we talked about in the chat, at the 10 o'clock chat on Sunday, where we don't usually link our self-esteem with our choices. If we had a positive self-image, we wouldn't make certain choices. For example, all of us eat stuff we're not supposed to eat. And, you say, look, I'm just going to deal with the effects of it.
Right.
And like I ate something today and I'm feeling the effects of it. Thus you can hear it in my voice. At the time it tastes good, right? But I'm paying for it now though.
I know.
And if I really cared about myself, this will make you happy, Des. I think about it. If I really cared about myself the way I need to care about myself, I wouldn't put certain things in my body at this point in my life. Now I put myself out there on the cross. Right. And my thing may be that, but all of us have something that we decide to do that doesn't positively help us, which comes from a place where if we valued ourselves more, we'd actually care about the decisions that we're making. Yeah. Sorry for preaching. Go ahead.
Whew, sir, we only 9 minutes in. We're only 9 minutes. He already trying to get us saved all over again.
I'm trying to share my thoughts. You know, I see things in webs. So great.
We love it. We love it. No, but like, we have a question already. Please post it.
All right. He says, "Let me ask you all this. Going back to your past, what choices are different for you now than the choices from your past?"
I don't know how much we can share about that, but
how deep we going?
Right.
Ooh,
I mean, the PG answer is like, nah, but
be real about it, right?
But no, I mean, now I feel as though I have more to lose than I did back then.
yeah.
So decisions that I make now affect more people than just me.
Yeah.
You know, back then it was like, okay, Antoine did this, Antoine has to deal with it. Now, if Antoine does this, it affects a lot of different other people in different ways. And the ripple effect is not something that I want to personally have to deal with for me making a ignorant decision.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. That's so true. I'll piggyback off that too. Now that I make choices, I look at that, who am I affecting with this, whether it's in my career, whether it's in my personal life, or just professionally, just like trying to grow. That's what I look at when I go to making a decision. So Deacon, you just took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
I think the older you get, the more the less selfish you're supposed to become.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you start to realize your life affects other people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole I got to do me thing, doing you can negatively impact other people. And that's where maturity comes in, when you start living outside of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a teenager, you're a kid, you care about you.
Right. No, things have a bigger consequence now.
Yeah, absolute bigger consequence. And I think learning how to value yourself, because you can value yourself greatly in one area and not value yourself great in another area. The whole premise is learn to value all of you.
Yeah.
So you can make good decisions. And that's a lifetime goal. Nobody achieves that overnight. It's a lifetime thing. You're always going to be reaching after.
I think for me in the past, I've made decisions out of desperation. Desperation out of like trying to fill voids of attention, or trying to fill, just trying to draw things nearer to me, where now it's like I make a choice because I know that it's going to benefit me and not try to impress someone or something or whatever,
Look at Desiree growing. Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord. He's trying to grow.
I remember the first conversation we had. Look at you growing.
Pastor Nicholas, we've come a long way.
You have. I'm proud of you. Good. Praise the Lord.
Thank you.
Oh, look at that.
And I ain't messing with you. See either. Look, I kept it right there.
I know. That was like a genuine compliment. I appreciate it.
It was no shade. There was no shade.
Y'all know I love y'all. Come on now.
No, but like Bishop told us this weekend, he said life and destiny are products of the choices you make. You can't move your hand, you can't shake your head, and you can't lift your foot without making a choice. Everything we do is preceded by a choice we've made. Choices dictate our destiny. Choices are directive and destiny fulfilling or destiny challenging. We have to understand that our choices have created the identity we see ourselves living out right now. A series of choices has created the identity that we are now existing. So let me ask you, Recap family, do you believe that individuals tend to have identity issues because of their past or present choices?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, you make a decision, you have to deal with that internal consequence until you either learn to forgive yourself or, you seek the forgiveness of the people you offended, or you try to right the wrong, so, decisions have voices,
right?
External and internal,
right?
They speak, even in the quiet moments. It's like a tape.
Talk, Antoine.
Like I shouldn't have done that, that kind of thing. So
choices have a voice. I'm gonna use that one day.
Antoine.
You see what happens when you come join us on a recap. We try to
I can see. You know what, Kevin? You're right. They're not this saved on Fresh Friday. Or here they all dropping gems and stuff.
Pastor Nick, when are you going to believe in me?
Kevin, you're right. You're right. Great. Great, Joe. Great.
That's all I got.
Wait till we get to the 30-minute mark. That's when they really gonna be dropping it. But does anyone else want to piggyback off that about that? Because we always talk about identity issues, whether it's on Fresh Friday or on here, because I just feel like the time that we're living in, that's a reoccurring thing, no matter the age, demographic or not. I feel like our identity issues stem from the choices that we make. So I want to do this because I want to look a certain way, but that's not really my identity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a vicious cycle. So it's like your self-perception drives your choices, and then your choices shape another identity. So it's like people that shop to feel good. It's a vicious cycle. You feel bad, you go shopping. You imagine you got no money. Your answer to not feeling bad is you go spend some more money, and you're in a vicious cycle. And all of a sudden, you're making all, like Desiree said, you're making these bad choices. These, you didn't say bad choices, but you know what I'm saying. You're making these choices that come from who you are, and then after the consequence comes, it makes you actually become worse sometimes if you don't learn from your choices.
Yeah.
So it's like, I know people that do this. I did this to get attention, didn't work, so let me try some more.
Yeah.
And the more they try, the more damage it does to them.
Yeah.
Because they're putting out so much and they're not getting what they want in return. So negative choices can be a vicious cycle. And positive choices then, watch this, positive choices can then change your self-perception. Because if it works in reverse, it works in the positive too. And let's go, just in case somebody needs some scripture.
We're all here for some scripture.
John chapter 8, and we love to quote this verse: "Who the Son sets free." Hey, right. But most people don't read the verse above that.
Right.
Jesus talks about being his disciple and following him, and he says, "When you follow me, when you choose to walk with me, when you choose to learn from me, when you choose to follow me, when you choose to grow with me, then you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free." We think freedom comes from just being at the altar, lay hands on you, boom, I pray, I'm free. Jesus is showing us that freedom is tied to choices. If a choice got you in it, choices can get you, but we don't want to do the work and put the time in to make the choices to get us out of it. So I read something today before we came on and said, this person's 32 years old. Shut up, Maya. This person's 32 years old, right? And 32 years old, right? And they're complaining, what's going to take me 4 years to do that? And the person's like, well, guess what? In 4 years, you're going to be 36, whether you do it or not.
Right.
But what we do is say, it takes too long, so I'm not going to do it. But watch this. You're eventually going to reach the age that it's going to take for you to do it, where you could actually get it done.
Oh. Listen.
Sow a seed, folks.
It's going to take 3 years to do that. But it's going to take you, you're going to live those 3 years anyway. So then you're going to be mad in 3 years when you're not there. I'm sorry.
No, but everyone has experienced a moment when they did not know what choice to make, right? There are times when we say we have faith in God, but when we are put into a season or a circumstance where we have to trust in him and put our faith into action, some individuals lose sight of God's word. So let's be real, Recap fam. No one looks forward to those seasons where your faith is required.
Yeah.
We are okay when God is handling everything and not having much involvement from ourselves. But when it comes to sacrificing some things and putting our faith and trust into action is where it becomes an issue, right? So Bishop asked the question. Now, this question is coming from Bishop. It's not coming from me, y'all. Bishop said, what do you do when God appears to back off and leave you in a situation where faith alone is not going to be enough and you have to trust God, right? So I'm going to ask you guys that question. What do you do when God appears to back off and leave you in a situation where faith alone is not going to be enough and you have to trust God?
Okay, you want to be honest?
I want you 100. You know how we do it on here.
Okay,
yeah,
so
you're real.
So typically I ask why and what's going on. That's usually my first response. Like, God, what's going on? And when he doesn't answer the why question, it's like, okay, what has he already told you? And what are you not doing? So there's a reflective nature. When he's quiet, like, okay, either he already said it and you're not listening, or you're not doing what he's telling you to do. So then that's where that, okay, let me be obedient to the previous instruction comes in. And that's a lot of trust because you know what that outcome is going to be.
Right.
But that's typically what happens with me. You know, I've had a season where it was just like, ooh, I don't know how this is going to work out. And just had to trust them, you know. And sometimes trusting means you take your hand off of it. You know, because sometimes we'll trust, but we want to keep our hand right there. You know, and he's like, just let go. I got you. So, you know, it was one of those moments where I had to be like, okay.
Yeah.
Let me just let it ride out.
Yeah.
And when it turned over, I was just like, okay, whew, thank you. Yeah, I mean,
That's good.
I like that. Sister Maya?
First, I want to give a shout out to, forgive me if I say its name wrong, Razine. It's her first time watching. So thank you for watching with us. Welcome to the recap.
Whoop, whoop. Welcome
Miss Lindsay.
Oh, and Sharon. But to answer your question, after the freak out, right? That's when I have a moment like again, Antoine says, just be quiet, take a step back, stop trying to force things to happen the way that I want them to happen, and just to keep an ear out for God and trust that He's still here, He's listening, and He's going to provide even in the most desperate of situations.
Right. And
without fail, like He always might answer like a question I have or like something very specific that is like, okay, this must be God, you know? So usually in those situations, I just need to step back, be quiet, keep myself calm, and just let Him do what He's going to do.
Okay. Sister Des, you want to take that?
So, if we're going to be 100% honest, there have been times for me where I have, because I come from, I'm healing my trust issues. So coming from a space where I had a lot of them, once it was time for me to like fully put my trust in you, and then you're pulling away from me or you're starting to get quiet on me, my back is now turning. I'm like, now I'm starting, and I'm just being honest. That's where I used to be, where I'm like, all right, I'm just going to do it myself because clearly nobody has my back, you know? And so thank God that I'm not there anymore. Now I am. And it's funny because like that whole, like when you look back over your life, that is a real thing. Because even the spaces and times where I would not trust Him and turn my back on Him and think that He turned His back on me, I'm like, oh wait, you were still there in this moment. Oh, you still showed up in that moment. And I can see that now. Whereas when I was in the moments, I was just like, all right, and I'm here by myself. So, but now currently I literally like fall on my face like all the time when those moments occur now, because I think on the times when I didn't have that. I think on the times when I didn't believe as much, when I didn't trust as much. And so like my trust issues, me trusting Him is also helping my trust issues in like my earthly life too. So yeah.
To piggyback on something you said, Desiree, like when we're in those moments, I feel like it's easy for us to stay focused on what our problem is, but not to see all the surrounding areas where God is still working and moving in our lives. So it's hard to see when you're in it, but I feel like that's where trust comes in, and knowing that even in all the other crap, for lack of better words, that we're going through, He's still there.
Like really learning to see Him. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No. I
was just gonna say, like, really learning to see Him as like if you have, like, trust with your parents, trust issues with your parents, and you're supposed to see God as like your ultimate father. It's like, well, my earthly father is. You know what I mean? Like someone who's in my face. Someone who I can physically see in my face is acting wild. So you expect me to trust this man that I don't even, you know?
Sister Des must have been reading my notes.
I got
She must have been reading my notes. She must have been reading my notes. I think y'all hijacked my notes. Pastor Nick, would you like to speak on that, sir?
Sure. A few things. God can feel like an absentee father sometimes. Because when you need him, he's usually quiet. But I've learned something. When he's usually quiet, it's because he's already spoken. We just weren't paying attention. So that's number one. Number two, if you read the book of Esther, you'll notice that the name of God is never mentioned in that book, not one time.
Right.
It tells a story, but his name is not mentioned. You don't see his name, but you see him working behind the scenes. And a big part of trust is learning to trust him when you can't see him, feel him, sense him, or any of those things. The other thing is, and I was thinking about this before we came on, was the 3 Hebrew boys. I continue to go back to that. If he does it, he's God.
Yeah.
If he doesn't do it, he's still God. That's faith and trust, y'all.
Yeah.
They were basically saying it's going to work out for my benefit no matter how it turns out. And that is a statement of maturity. I want him to work it out. I want him to heal me, want him to deliver me, want him to do all that stuff. But if he chooses not to, I'm still going to serve him anyway. That's old school faith right there.
Yeah.
And that's what them old church mothers and church fathers had. That's why they have faith so strong. Because their thing was either way, I trust God with the answer.
Yeah.
And that takes a place to get to.
Yes.
Jonathan LeBoux has a song called Situations that says that.
I'm gonna get you.
Who?
Jonathan Riddle.
Oh, it's more than.
I love you so much.
Oh.
Don't listen to her.
Welcome to the recap. Welcome to the recap.
This is turning into Fresh Friday.
No, but seriously, his song Situations talks about that. About
like,
I'm gonna love you like in any situation. I love you so much, Maya. You know that.
Yeah.
We love Maya. We love her.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Right.
Going.
Continue.
What Maya can learn is believe God for the best, trust him in the worst. That's what we'll try to say.
All right.
Believe for the best.
I'm messing with you, girl.
This is something new. We need to have a conversation after.
That's not true.
This is
stop.
Because I was
just messing with her. Leave her alone. Leave her alone. I was just
now you know Pastor Nick is like that big brother that's gonna get on whenever he hears something.
See, that's why I should have not put him on here. I should have did it with Pastor Jonathan. Because you're just gonna hold it over her head.
Enjoyable.
Oh God.
Give him ammo. Now I apologize.
Thanks, Des.
I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, y'all are so funny.
I didn't know.
Man, y'all better be glad this is a live panel right now.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I can't say what everything is.
So wait.
I was
glad this thing is recorded right now.
Oh God.
Anyway, you were saying
make room for you.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Make room.
Y'all are hilarious.
I was just messing with my friend, and y'all just taking it to the next level.
Even her mama said, "Keep going."
We love Mama LeBoux.
Yes, Auntie.
Oh my gosh, yo, my head hurts from that.
Make room for you.
Oh boy. You in trouble, girl.
Lord. I definitely Pastor Nick was the wrong one to do this with. Yeah. I'm so sorry.
You know, whenever he does something, he like it's like Jody with the notepad.
Remember, I got the passcode. I'm signed in.
Oh my gosh, this is so funny. Yo,
I can't stand it.
Oh,
Desiree.
I see now. I
Go ahead,
so
Kevin.
bad. I didn't. No, you're not welcome.
No. So Bishop said.
Yes, Bishop said
Go get your problem.
What did Bishop say?
He said, do not allow your memory to chain you to a period in time that God is delivering you from. Bishop taught us that it is important that you do not live in denial of your past, because experiences in our past produce decisions in our present. The things that you experienced in your past influence decisions that you make right now. Difficult relationships in your past dictate the decisions you make in your present relationships, and hard times with employment in your past could potentially sabotage your ability in a new opportunity. This is because an emotion from the experience will often be carried into a new situation. So let me ask you guys, recap family, how has your past relationships, whether they were with family members, friends, or significant others, shaped your mindset in your current relationships?
Kevin.
Man.
That's that question.
See, Sister Des was already on the relationship type, you know.
I think that should go first.
So how have they?
I'm so mad that I gave him a bullet for you. I'm so sorry.
Man,
he's going to carry this on. He's going to carry it on. This is going on in Fresh Friday. This is definitely going to happen in Fresh Friday.
I am so sorry. I should have known better.
We love
it's okay. I forgive you.
Oh man, Pastor Nicholas.
I'm not saying anything. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, what's your question?
How has your past relationships, whether they were with family members, friends, or significant others, shaped your mindset in your current relationships? Last week we did talk about that, like how you know, people that we thought were for us, you know, they, you know, hurt us and stuff like that. So it, like, we put up a guard and put up a fence now. So like, how has those experiences in your past relationships, like, you know, transcend into your new relationships with people? And you know, they could be with family members, friends, or significant others.
Without like telling too much of my business to use as ammo. I
don't. When it comes to sensitive matters, we don't laugh about that.
Actually, you're right. You know a lot of my business, and you never said anything.
There you go. They're not laughing either.
You're right.
Yeah.
No, I will say that when making choices now, I'm not as open, whereas I used to be very much like very much open to any and everything, where now it's like I'm very like not guarded in a negative way, but kind of filter more, you know. And I don't think that that is a bad thing. I think that it's been a growth moment for me, whereas because before it was like, and I don't give as much, like because I'm a very giving person. Like I'm a very, very like pour over you type of person, especially like if I'm talking about like partnership. If I like you, I'm like, I want the best for you. I want to be the best for you. You know, no matter what you treat me like, well, past Des anyway, what you used to treat her like, you know, you're gonna get the best of Des. Whereas now it's like there needs to be reciprocation here, and I'm not gonna give everything that I have initially now. Whereas before it was just like, day one, I like you, you have my heart, you know? So that has definitely, those decisions or those actions have shaped my decision-making and choices now going forward with partnership. And then with like family, I'm still working on it, so, to be honest.
Yeah. That's so real. That's so real.
It's real.
I was going to say past relationships are kind of like the blueprint for the future ones. You can kind of tell, you know, if you learn from the ones that failed and also the ones that made it, you know, it allows you to kind of see like, okay, this is the way I want to go. If you start seeing glimpses of the past, you have a choice. Either you can confront it to correct it, or you like, okay, I'm just going to avoid it in general. So, you know, most of my past relationships, some of them have dwindled. Some still exist, but they're cordial now. Instead of it being like, you know, we were talking all the time. Now is when I see you, we'll talk, or, You know, every now and again, if I'm thinking about you, I'll reach out, that kind of thing. Like we may not be as tight as we were because life happens.
Yeah.
Grow apart. But yeah, that's my experiences.
Yeah, and I agree with all that. I think over time I've become a little bit more guarded because I don't want to get myself into situations where my feelings might be hurt. But I also like to take, situations like this as an opportunity to reflect on some things that I could have done better.
Right.
And try to use that in applying to new relationships so I can not make the same mistakes that were made on my end.
Right. I like that. Now, Pastor Nick, I have a special question for you, good sir.
Yep.
So can you speak about how generational curses play a major role on people's decision making?
Yes. Generational curses only work if you believe them. If you're saved, Jesus has broken the curse off your life. You don't have to be like your predecessors. You only become them when you feel like that's a part of your life path. So when we got saved, Romans 6 says, when we got saved, that he baptized us and we experienced a death. And he raised us in the newness of life. And he says, I need you to now walk in the newness of life.
Right.
So and he says, reckon yourselves dead to your old sins, to your old way, meaning that every day is a choice to walk like a brand new person.
Yeah.
So I have to make the conscious choice not to become like my predecessors. So we always hear those generational curses, which, how can I say this nicely? Isn't as much as biblical as generational blessings are. The Bible talks more about generational blessings than generational curses. It's because we believe in the negative more than the positive. You really only hear oppressed people talking about generational curses like that. Because we have a generational oppression and we feel like it's normal because it's what we do and how we live. But through Christ, we have the ability to break those things. So I don't have to be like my father.
Right.
I can take who he was, be the opposite of his negative, and take the strengths of who he was and be that to my kids. So yeah, I'm gonna do more. I actually want to do more research on generational curses, on where the premise came from,
right,
and why it's used. But I think sometimes we use generational curses as an excuse to be a little trifling.
Yeah. Scapegoat.
That's good. That's good.
Thank you for giving me a better word, a scapegoat. I said trifling. Thank you.
That's Minister LeBeau for you.
She's right. She's my conscience. She's my conscience at times.
But no, the reason why I wanted to ask you about generational curses, because it feels like you always hear about them. And like you said, I feel like Christians sometimes use it as a scapegoat to say, okay, my dad was trifling, so I can have some trifling ways, but I'm saved. You know what I mean? Or it's because there's no perfect family. Every family is dysfunctional at times, but it, like you said, like if you are reborn in Christ and everything, there should be something that changed your mindset. So you should not, if you think you are like your mom or you like your dad and they were not, good to you, you should not have that mindset when you are in Christ.
And honestly, now, I'm probably getting in trouble when I say this.
Uh-oh, come on.
Here we go.
We like it.
Say, yeah.
Show me somewhere in scripture where even God talks about generational curses. So could what we call, and I'm not against spiritual things. I'm not a spook, but I'm not a spooky person.
Yeah.
Could it be what psychologists call the nature versus nurture thing, that you're shaped into something? You're shaped by your circumstances. You're shaped by who you're around, and then you end up growing up recreating what you're around and who you're around, because that's all you really are exposed to.
Yeah.
And it shaped you. And you see people that don't even have the Holy Ghost breaking that tradition.
At the same time, though.
But I do believe there's spiritual stuff. I'm not denying that, though.
No, for sure.
I'm not denying that. But good. Sorry, Mai.
I was going to say, I feel like there are people who aren't raised like in the presence of negative people, but still had the same struggles. Coincidentally, maybe,
Yeah,
So
that's what I'm saying. Some of that is legit, some spiritual stuff.
that would be the spiritual end of things when it's like that.
I think partially it could be, yes, a spiritual thing. Like you saw Prophet Amotang come and call him
Yeah.
your great uncle from 1908.
That was crazy.
You know,
Yeah.
So those things do exist, and those things are real.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is that psychologists, watch this, because remember, you got to say, let's take mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
Psychologists will show you that there's a decipher between, and I believe this, some mental illness and demonization. Not everything's a demon. Some things are just mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually track that mental illness can be a genetic trait in the family.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So it's a genetic thing, which needs to be fixed psychologically. That's why you can't rebuke everything.
Yeah.
Some people need counseling. Some people need help. Some people need therapy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not denying those spiritual things. I do believe that there can be some spiritual influences that are in families. But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, God gives us a choice on how we decide to live.
Yeah.
Pastor Nick, I just want to commend you. I'm so happy you're my pastor, because you are such a smart young man. You're a millennial. You are a smart young millennial.
I'm a great tweener. There you go. Thank you, you on my side. I'm gonna get in trouble. I know somebody going to be like, Bishop, he said I never said there was no such thing as general curses. I'm just saying I think we put more emphasis in it than necessary.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like Elder Maya said, it's a scapegoat to use.
Elder, now she the elder.
Elder.
Thanks.
I'm like this because my parents are like this, but Jesus gave me a individual choice.
Yeah.
Right. Wow, that's so in order not to miss God, we must be ready for the sudden move of God. When God moves suddenly, it's not sudden to him. It is sudden in the circumstance that we are currently experiencing. This requires a measure of discernment on your part, which knowing God from studying the word of God, understanding how he moves by studying how he moves in his word. Mm-hmm. So when something suddenly happens, we see or recognize the move of God based on our experience with God. God talks to us all through the word of God, but you have to know your private voice for God. So if you don't mind sharing, guys, what is your private voice for God, and how do you know when he's talking to you? Like I always share like my most sincere moments with God, and when I know that he's talking to me is through worship. Mm-hmm. Worship, and when I listen to worship music, that brings me to a point where I'm just like, all right, God, you got my undivided attention. What is it that you're trying to drop into my spirit and tell me? And then like we always share, like some people say through dreams and stuff. But if you guys don't mind sharing, what is your private voice for God, and how do you know it's God talking to you?
Mm-hmm. I think for me, sometimes it's dreams. Like I had a dream earlier this week. I was like, okay, this is spooky. But for the most part, I'd say music. You know, I can count so many different times where I might have changed the radio station, and it's like a song perfect for the situation that I'm going through. So I think, or it might be like my favorite song. I have a favorite Christian song that I, without fail, comes on every single time. Every time. So I'm like, okay, God, I hear you. I'm listening. I just let it speak to me.
Good. Who else wants to answer that? Oh, Pastor Nick, if you don't know, this is what they do when I ask them questions. They take a sigh and they just look at me.
They do the same thing to you that they do to me?
Yeah, they just look at me.
But I would say mine is typically dreams for the most part. Every now and again, it'll be through the word. But majority of the times where he's trying to get a real situational life or death message to me, it's in dreams. So, and most of my dreams have this is how I know it's him. It's been it, and he's talking to me. So that's why, and it never fails. Every dream I have, it's him in it, and he's talking to me.
I like that. Sister Des. Sister Des. Would you like to share that private voice for God, or how you know when God's talking to you?
My prayer life is like the strongest it's ever been in my life. And so I'm honestly how we have conversations right now. Like just this morning, my aunt, she's my aunt's a minister, and she taught me 10-10-10. So that's 10 minutes of worship, 10 minutes of word, and 10 minutes of prayer. And so I've been implementing that. And I find that once I get to the prayer moment, it's like a prayer / praise moment. Okay. And it like starts off as like a head down type of, head down on your knees type of prayer. And then it ends up to me just like all over the house, hands up, tears running down my face. Like it kind of like morphs into this thing. And I find myself like, I know that if anyone could hear like if my walls were like super thin, they'd be like, she is crazy because she's in there talking to herself. She's in there talking to herself because I'll be like, but you said this and da 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 da, and I'll wait. But you did it, and so I'm like in there. So I've noticed that that is where he's showing up mostly for me.
Yeah.
And
I love that. I'm trying to be more intentional with those, where instead of him just showing up like when I'm in a desperate situation. But like Des said, having moments where you're praying and then the next thing you know, you're like shouting and running across the room. Like those are the best. Yeah. Like what is going on?
Pastor Nick is dude, I can't win. So Pastor Nick, being a pastor, what is your private voice for God? I can't. What is your? I can't even win.
This is a bad idea.
He's not allowed in the group.
Banned.
Hey, we are bringing the seriousness and the fun.
Right.
This is what I'm here for.
Oh man.
The people love the entertainment. And
help us, Lord.
And God.
Oh gosh.
Please help us, Lord. Please.
I'm starting to wake up now. That's what I'm coming.
You're right. He came on he was all quiet winking. Yeah. Now
whatever he ate is digesting. That's
right.
No, but I think it's different for everybody. And it's weird. It could be that God speaks to people too in the way that's best for them. So you saw like Desiree and Maya have somewhat similar temperaments. And I know some other people that have the similar temperaments like them. And the same thing that they were just talking about, they have the same experiences with God. It's not something I'm totally laying a full biblical foundation on, but I'm just saying it to say, like Bishop said, it's individual and known for you. So for me, mine is a few things. It's either a knower, like it's something beyond a feeling. Like I'll just know something. Don't ask me how. I can't explain it to you. I just know it. The other thing too is God speaks to me in the weirdest places. Like I'll just be randomly doing something, and out of nowhere, this thing just drops. I don't understand it. I can't explain it to you. Like I was in that orientation thing I was talking to y'all about, Maya. I'm in the car leaving my grandma's house yesterday, about to cross the light, thinking about one thing. Someone's like, "Hey, why don't we do this orientation thing?" I was like, "I'll see what they think about it later."
Yeah.
It just randomly out of nowhere, stuff just comes. Wow. It's like when I'm not thinking about it, that's when it comes. One of the best things for me is when I need an answer, I go to sleep without fail. Lord, I need an answer. Can you help me out? And I go to sleep. And when I wake up, it's like, I got it. I don't know what it is. It just, but that's how I know for me. I wish I had one of those, God cracks the sky and, I'm weird, y'all. Just,
No, but I think that's part of the problem. Because I feel like people are looking for this big sign when God doesn't always move in that way. It's the smallest, quietest responses.
Right. And Bishop talked about that last weekend when he said people are looking for this mysterious move from God. Like, oh, that's God. But we miss him because we look for those things when he just, he talks to us nice and quiet. So in that, in distraction and everything, we can focus on his voice and his word.
Yeah. And even every voice you hear in your head is not God. And learning to decipher that is difficult sometimes because you sound like God.
Yeah.
Especially when you want something.
Yeah.
And we've all been there before. That was God. And it was like, okay, later on I was like, no, that wasn't
That
was the Lord. And being careful with that. But we always go back to that Bible will always tell you what God is saying.
Yeah.
And what you feel, however he speaks to you, should confirm what's going on in that book.
Whew. Free Cat family, y'all got my head hurting from this teaching and then from this laughter. So according to the word of God, what you say and what you do are seeds that are a part of a sowing principle and produce a harvest in your life. One thing that we forget about this sowing principle is that there is a harvest of emotion for everything that you say and do. When we speak to people or sow a seed of words and actions, there's a harvest of emotions in the individual that we are talking to or the person that experienced our behavior. This correlates with forgiveness because I can forgive you for what you have done and I can forgive you for what you said, but I cannot forget how what you did and what you said caused an emotion and feeling inside of me. So we have that saying that I hate this saying, and I don't use that word a lot, but I really don't like this saying. There's always sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt, which is totally wrong. The older that you get, it's like, no. So can we discuss, right? So can we discuss how words can be hurtful and plant a negative seed in individuals' lives? Because like something that someone said to you in like 5th or 6th grade can still carry on to your life now. So like let's talk about that importance of those, not speaking those hurtful words onto others and, how we can break those chains of that hurt.
Well, I think the first thing is we need to spin that saying. I haven't heard it in a very long time, but I remember hearing it.
They don't say that.
I remember hearing it a lot when I was a kid, even from my mother, like the words don't hurt. Words don't hurt. Knowing
this overly sensitive generation can't take too much of that.
Right.
Twitter says otherwise.
They spend all day criticizing other people, and any little small criticism towards them is, oh my God, y'all hating on me, y'all judging me. Don't
exactly.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
See, this is why he doesn't want to be a millennial. He knows we can prove that.
Right.
How come you don't know social media break your heart? Come on, you don't know them. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say that's the first step, but since it's kind of not existent right now. But then we have to also recognize that we have to protect ourselves from negative situations, and just negative people in general. Like if somebody is kicking somebody's back in all the time in front of you, imagine what they're doing behind your back. Right. So you're just like, okay, got to go. Because negativity, it just it spreads like wild weeds.
Virus,
it's just bad, and before you know it, you're getting choked up, and then then you're wondering, why am I thinking about why is my head too big, or why am I thinking about I can't do this, why am I thinking about how I look, and why am I thinking about why God won't do this for me and why this won't happen for me? Because you've been sitting around negative people, and no matter what you say, what you're around eventually is going to get in you somehow.
Yeah.
So you just have to be like, for real, just have to be very careful about the space that that you allow people to occupy. Because at the end of the day, you got to go home, and things do grow in the dark. So,
and just looking at it spiritually, it's just like we learn, you just don't let anyone speak over your life. You don't let just anyone pray, because you don't know what their intention. So anybody else want to talk about that?
Repeat the question again.
I was about to say
basically just discussing how words can be hurtful and they plant a negative seed in individuals' lives.
I think that it starts off with understanding that every thought we have is not original. It came from somebody. So when people talk to us or call us something, they call us how they choose to see us. And when you're young, you don't know how to think otherwise. I was listening to Tiffany Haddish did this interview with Vlad, and I just saw a clip of it. And y'all act like y'all know who Vlad is. And I'm sure you don't know who Vlad is. But
Is it 6:30 yet?
But she was talking about how she always thought she was dumb growing up because people said, "Girl, you dumb. Girl, you dumb."
Mm.
So she grew up thinking that she was dumb and she took everything literal until she got older and realized they weren't saying she was dumb like she was stupid. It was like back in the day, it was like, "Oh, you dumb," when you're funny, like dumb funny, like dumb crazy.
Yeah.
But she said those words affected her until she was an adult because she took everything literally. And there comes a time where we have to face our own self-perception that was given to us by other people.
Yeah.
Write it down.
Yeah, that's it.
And then figure out if that self-perception is true or if it was them projecting their issues on us.
Right. And that's what I was going to say.
Yep.
Because when we're kids, like we're all innocent. So
right.
Like those words that we're saying that are hurtful, those are things that we are taking in, maybe not in the same form, but we're still taking in that negativity from somewhere else, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like it spirals. It's like Deacon Anton said, it's a virus. Like it spreads and it affects more people.
Yep.
Y'all better wear y'all masks.
Yeah. But that goes back to what Pastor Nick said and being able to speak back to ourselves and say, you know, make our own perceptions of who we really are.
Yeah. And understand, and we find that in the word.
Mm-hmm.
Where I start practicing identifying myself based off who God says I am. Watch this. It's like this. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That word renew means to renovate. When you renovate something, you get the old stuff out, put the new stuff in. What we want to do is you put the new stuff in and keep the old stuff in at the same time. The whole premise is I need you to start changing who your thought process is about yourself. Get that old thinking out so you can put some new thinking in. And deliverance does not mean that the thoughts will never come up. It just means my new thoughts start to dominate my old thoughts. It goes back to what God asked Adam and Eve, who told you? I didn't tell you that. Somebody else told you that about you. So now we got to research, who does God say that we are? Start making those necessary adjustments because our identity is not in people. Our identity is in God, and making sure, watch this, the perception that some people have about us is true.
Yep. I was going to put this up what Ava just said. Sometimes they call you what you put out.
Yep.
And I think that could be a rude awakening for some people. Like,
that's what you
have to do. Reevaluate yourself.
At this point in our lives, we're responsible for our perception. When you're a child, you don't know no difference at 5 years, 6 years old, 3 years old. You don't know no different.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know you was too short or too this or too that until somebody says something to you.
Yeah. I can't.
Don't come to me, Kevin.
You want me to keep going? You want me to keep going? Okay, I got you. The commandments of God. So something else that Bishop said that really rocked. I was just like, what? He said the commandments of God are not a lid. They are a cover. Leadership from God is not a lid. It is a cover. A cover will demand the best out of you, but a lid does not want you to see you any further along than you are right now. A lid is more of a selfish relationship, but a cover is when you can develop beneath that cover. So I don't know, Recap family. Do y'all want to discuss that difference? Because that rocked me. That was deep when he said the difference between the cover and the lid. Did anybody want to add anything to that?
Well, if you think about it.
Here we go. This is the illustration I waited for. Go ahead.
So you think about
it. You know he's about to say something when he said, well, when you think about it.
Right. When he goes like this, when you think about it, you know he's about to get so. Go ahead, Deacon.
So when you think about it, you know, you put a lid over something to keep it cut, to either keep the bugs out, keep it warm, you know, germ free. You put a cover over something when it's cooking. I mean, the cover over something to keep it cool. The lid. No, wait. What am I doing? Messing up. Okay.
Let the Lord use you down, Deacon.
Let the Lord. Go ahead.
I'm going too fast. So the cover is when you're cooking, right? So let's say we got potatoes in the pot, we got cabbage in the pot, we got our meat in the pot, and we wanted to really get all the juices in, the steam to stay in. We wanted to cook well. We put that cover over it. We put that pot cover, you know. But then once it's done, you put a lid over it to keep it warm. So the covering that we get from God is to protect us and to keep us in our cooking phase until we're ready to be poured out and served. So God likes to cook us slowly versus, you know, going to Chick-fil-A, get out the line, and the food.
Don't come for Chick-fil-A.
I'm just saying. That's the only fast food restaurant I go to.
McDonald's.
Right, you could have said McDonald's, Deacon.
I don't even like to mention their name, like, but, you know. But that's where I see it in my head, because
most definitely,
cover, you know, the cover is to protect you. You know, the cover is to, you know, shield you from the things, the elements on the outside.
Right.
Whereas so the lid is after you're, you know, after you're done.
Right.
You know, you put the lid on it, but it's
and that's
not,
what I look at it.
It's not doing anything.
Right.
You know, it's just keeping. You know,
and when you think of a lid, it like keeps you shut in a certain spot. So that's how I was looking at it, whereas like a cover is just covering you, watching you over as you grow and, you know, continue to grow deeper into your religion with him and your relationship with him. Whereas a cover is just, I mean, yeah, a lid is just like, it's sealed. That's it.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with a hood cover. Cover you can't drive without no hood cover.
Yeah, a cover gives you room to expand. A lid doesn't.
It's room for growth.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lid just puts you there.
Ava just said
Ava.
a lid is tight and confining. You can't get that lid off easily. It's so stagnant. A cover won't stop you from spilling out. Growth.
Go ahead, Ava.
There you go.
Yeah.
Ava, you're an honorary member.
You are. We're gonna have to get you on one of these one day.
Can we get her a badge or something?
Yeah, we gotta get her a badge, a recap badge.
Yeah.
Get you a sticker.
Come on, sticker.
Come on, sticker.
Oh man.
So Bishop said we cannot lean on our own understanding. We must seek God's wisdom. When seeking God's wisdom, you want to surround yourself with wise people. If you have 10 friends, you don't want 9 of them to be wacky and only have one wise person in the group. You want your wise relationships to outnumber your unwise relationships, which is why I stay around my recap family. Bishop concluded by saying every difficult decision that has to be made requires us to seek, to ask, and to knock or test. Seek all the answers, ask, and never guard your ignorance when you are in a situation that you do not understand. Ask the question and gain the knowledge. All right. Go ahead, Sister Des. It looks like you wanted to wrap something up. Go ahead.
I know. I was just going to say, like, get all of that. And don't be afraid to make the right decision that you know is the right choice afterwards. Because I know that I've been in situations where I've sought counsel and I've gotten all, like, everything lines up and my gut feeling tells me it's no and everything. And I'm just like, all right, we're going to do it. And it's time to do it. And I'm like, yes, instead of no, you know, and do the opposite thing. So it's like, on top of all of that, make sure that you're asking for courage to
follow through.
Exactly, to continue on to whatever that choice is supposed to be.
Because sometimes making the right choice keeps you out, put you out there, man.
Right.
Yeah, it's scary. Like sometimes that right choice, that right decision, is a scary situation, and it causes you to grow. You know.
Yeah. So. I love it. Does anybody else have any closing remarks before we go into the announcements?
No, I just see a question, but I mean, that's up to you guys if y'all want to do it or not.
Yeah, you want to post it real quick?
I don't know.
What's the question?
Sure.
I gotta eat Tennessee.
Oh yeah, passing it.
All right, let's give us a schedule. He's hungry.
That was from earlier. I have a salad in my office.
Well, I will say that we have an exciting week coming up.
You can do the question if you want to.
You want to do the question?
That's fine.
Go ahead.
I didn't say where to stop now. I said what time we're going to be done. That's all.
Oh, right after this question.
Okay.
Do you all think if you compare yourselves to a biblical character, who would you be and why? Ooh. And did they make the right choices?
Now listen. I'm gonna have to come back to you next week for that.
Yeah, that's the next week question.
Because I gotta do my research. Because I gotta make sure I give you the right the right character.
So many characters,
right? Don't have me up here saying the wrong character, and y'all be like, how y'all got him moderator saying the wrong character?
Or they start researching the character.
Yeah.
Right, like Kevin, Jesus, I ain't know that about you. Prophesying all over my business. But no, I do love the question. So
if you come back,
we're gonna save that question for next week.
Yeah.
We'll save it for next week, and we'll start the conversation with that question next week. Okay.
All right.
So
sounds good.
We are the church that never sleeps. So as you know, we always got something going on throughout the week. So tomorrow we have Daddy Talk with Bishop at 1 o'clock. Okay. So make sure you tune in for that.
So good.
And then also we have Real Men Talk, Safe House Men's Ministry at 7 p.m. having a COVID-19 conversation. So a couple weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago, the women, they had their panel. It was a really good panel. Now, the men got to come and give the same energy, right? So please tune into that at 7 o'clock tomorrow. And then on top of that, on Wednesday, we have our Word Impact with our incredible fearless leaders. When they come together, it's an incredible time. They always got something. They always got something up in store for us. So they always drop us with some gems on Wednesday. So Word Impact at 7 on Wednesday. Also Thursday, we will be broadcasting the encounter on Thursday at 7 p.m. as well as the discussion on Friday at 12 p.m. Okay, in the Connections group. Okay, and then also on Friday. Woo! I'm excited about this. A Fresh Friday, and if you enjoyed all the shade and laughter and entertainment you got today, just tune into Friday because it's times 10. Okay. 10 times better on Friday. You like that?
That's cute.
And then also on Saturday we have On Point Radio with Bishop and Pastor Nick at 9 a.m. And then also this Saturday is a special Saturday because we will be doing our Catch the Fire Back to School initiative. And like we talked about last week, there's still time to donate, whether the students will be in the classroom or in their living rooms. It's so important that they have those school supplies. Just coming from working in education, I know how important that is. So please, if you still have time, please donate. You can donate through the website, Giveify, or you can drop off any donations at the church, right? And then also on Saturday, we have drive-in service at 12 o'clock, weather permitted. Hopefully the weather's good,
Yeah.
It's hot. It was hot out there this Saturday.
It was hot.
I was like, let me hurry up through these videos and run in my car. But no, Saturday driving service as well as emerging worship. Pastor Nick and Deacon, I'm just loving these emerging worship. From the worship to the word, I'm just like, I want to go back and be a teen a little bit to just, but it's for all ages. You guys can tune in, but it's an amazing, amazing time. And I encourage you guys to watch it and, celebrate and, also support our emerging worship.
Yes.
Right. And then on Sunday, we have all of our encounter services, 8, 9, 10 discussion, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock will be the broadcast of the drive-in service. And then Sunday evening at 5:30, we have our pre-discussion to 10 Times Better Man series, 10 Times Better Man at 6, and then a post-discussion with Bishop and Pastor Nick.
We busy.
All right.
That's a lot going on this week.
A lot.
And I'm going to add one more thing.
Oh my gosh.
This Wednesday at 4:30 is our last food bank over at the Moby Dick location. 111 North Carlton Street, Lindenwold, New Jersey. So it's the last time. Yeah, so it's the last time that you guys can come and pick up your food items from the food pantry.
The back to school drive this Saturday too. I know Lindenwold is doing completely virtual for the first couple of months.
Yes.
So I'm not sure if Camden is, but we're still going to do the backpack drive just in case though.
Right.
Just throwing it out there because I know some people that are watching, they may wonder if it's canceled or not. We already got the backpack, so we got to do something with them.
Right.
So, it may not be as many as normal. It's still needed. Okay.
It's still needed because I've talked to a couple of parents today because I work in Lindenwold. They're asking about school supplies.
Okay.
You know, because at the end of the day, they're going to have to come back.
Yeah.
Right.
At some point.
Well, like maybe January something.
Grindelwald has November 16th as a date.
Okay.
Yeah, each school district is different. Winslow's January.
Okay.
Someone
So
said Camden is full remote learning.
And it's for remote.
Oh,
Okay.
good.
All right.
Good. So it's needed.
So please, and we also need volunteers too. Okay, so please come out and help us out. Give out the book bags. Like we said last week, it's such an incredible time, an incredible experience to be out there and just to give back. I always love this time of year because I love fall, but it's also the time of year when we do catch the fire, and I just love the back-to-back, the book bag, the Thanksgiving and Christmas. So even though COVID happened, you know, we're still going to do some restrictions, but still get out there and catch that fire because that is so important. Yeah. All right, Recap fam. Any last words before we sign off?
Yeah, have a fun time, you guys. Share.
Yes, share. Please share Transforming Lives Month, where you can get them come church by sharing this content. All right. We love you guys. Pastor Nick, since you are our honorary guest, you got any last words for us?
I will make room for you.
I knew you were going to do that. I knew it.
See you later.
It is safe.